following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco and across the moat from Oakland. I am privileged to speak to some of the most interesting people, men, women, dogs, cats on the planet, and today is no exception. I have a fellow from Georgia. I don't know how an actor gets to be in Georgia, but I'm meeting him for the first time. Eric Morris, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, you come highly recommended. Steve Joyner is a mutual friend, and he said that you're an entertaining guy who's bright and interesting, and he just wonders why a guy like that would want to be on a show with me. So, Eric, the best way to get to know you is to have you tell me your elevator chat. What would you say to this audience if you met him on an elevator?
Well, I'd probably say something along the lines of, hey, I'm Eric Morris. I like long walks on the beach and candlelight dinners by the fireplace, things like that.
Oh, well, that's kind of nice. Eric, how'd you get into acting? I don't know if you'd ever bring this up in an elevator chat, if you wouldn't. And I'm just wondering who you're addressing in the elevator with that.
Oh, well, anybody that'll lend me an ear, so.
All right, well, you got to have some mystery in radio, and that's the nice part. Georgia, acting, how'd you get started in acting? What's it all about?
Well, ironically, I've been a musician my whole life. I play guitar, sing, and I always tell everybody that the more alcohol they drink, the better I tend to sound. But beyond that, that's what kind of led me into the entertainment industry is music. And I have a son that's he's a little older now, but when he was a young teenager, he had an interest in trying to pursue acting. So we got him some classes and things like that. I started taking him to do background work and working on some smaller production, films here in Atlanta. And so one day I was there, and the director asked me if I was also an actor, and I said no. And he told me I should look into it. He thought I had a interesting and important look, and I don't know what he meant by that. And it stuck out to me when he said important look. I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? So, anyways, I kind of took his advice. I had an interest in it, so I started training and taking classes, and started doing background work on my own, and I just kind of fell in love with the industry, and I pursue it now all the time. So my son actually got out of it. He didn't stay in it. He just kind of lost interest. I mean, football and girls were more important, I guess. So I took his place, and I love it. So Atlanta's got a lot going on in the film industry. There's a lot of stuff being shot here.
Are you originally from Atlanta?
I am. Born and raised. One of the few actors here in town that can honestly say that. There's so many guys that I meet on set, or girls that are just from all over. I mean, I can't tell you how many people on Facebook have hit me up and that are from Los Angeles that are thinking about moving to Atlanta. They want to know what it's like here. So I try to give them a rundown. Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Well, I don't know if that's if they're saying good things about Atlanta or bad things about Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I know a few actors here that are from Los Angeles, and they've all told me the same thing, that they've received more auditions and opportunities since they moved to Atlanta than they ever did in Los Angeles. So, I don't know what that what the deal is with that. I mean, maybe it's because there's so much competition in Los Angeles, and Atlanta's a little. I mean, there's still a lot of competition here. Don't get me wrong, but maybe it's not as much. I don't know. I've never been to LA. I want to go visit one day here soon, so hopefully I'll come out there and check out the West Coast.
I'm in radio. I have an ear for voices already. You're from Dartmouth, aren't you?
I'm from what?
No, I'm kidding. You have a great Southern accent. It really sounds like. Do you have any other voices? Like, say you got cast in a movie that you had to play a New Yorker. What would you sound like?
Oh man, it's best I just stick to the Southern accent roles because that is it is tough for me to. I mean, I have to try like super hard to not have a Southern accent when I talk, and I mean this is just me talking. But when I'm on the camera and they don't want a Southern accent, I have to really practice and try to really turn it down as much as possible. And even then, you can still hear it.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah. Yep. It's always there. It's never leaving me. It's like a bad toe or something. It's always going to be a chance.
Actually, it's kind of refreshing because ever since Andy Griffith went off the air in Mayberry, what was I? I missed the accent. I missed that Southern drawl. It really does sound great. And I have somewhat of an affinity for the Braves, the Atlanta Braves. Way back when they were in Milwaukee, and my New York Giants left New York. I enjoyed their company. So I just wanted to tell you and the audience that their star catcher, Del Crandall, turned 90 years old in the last few years. So
that's awesome.
It's an inspiration, and I'm interested in folks with a passion in their second careers. What brought you to this? What did you do before being an actor?
Well, I'm like most blue-collar folks here in the South. I mean, I've worked construction my whole life, and I still do. I mean, I'm not a full-time working actor, and it's so hard to become a full-time working actor. That's the goal for every actor is to do it full-time.
Oh, well, you got to have a day job, whatever you're doing. And I admire the fact that you keep on working.
Well, I own a company. Is what I do to pay the bills. I own a company called Forest Enviro, where we do waterproofing here in Atlanta, and we also do some mold remediation. But mainly we do just waterproofing only, and we stay very busy. And I've been blessed to have a great team, and it allows me to have some free time to kind of multitask and run the company as best I can and be on set at the same time and look at jobs. And, that's what I'm doing today. I just finished the customer's house before we had, got on the phone together. So just looking at jobs every day, that's what I do all day. And then, tomorrow morning I'm going to be on set shooting a pilot. And Sunday I'm doing a scene in a Western film I'm in. And then Tuesday I drive up to Knoxville to work on a ID Discovery Channel show. I forget what it's called. I've never even For My Man or something like that. It's a crime reenactment show. So I try to stay busy, and you have to just constantly pursue this industry. It's just all about.
Tell me about that, because there are a lot of folks out there thinking, I could be an actor, I could be an actress. How do you publicize yourself? Do you have an agent? How do you go about getting booked?
Well, most of it is all just me, constantly searching, pursuing. I've met a lot of people along the way. I've had people just offer me roles for different things. But like the thing I'm going to do for ID Discovery Channel next week, I've been up there. I've done maybe 5 or 6 of those different shows, And all of those, it's me submitting myself, and I mean, I do it. I look at the breakdowns daily. I mean, I'm always submitting myself to something. I'm trying to steer away from some of the types of roles that I've done a lot of, which is like creepy guys doing, I'm always play like a killer or some angry, abusive something. I got this whole angry character down to a science, but so when I get out of that realm and I get to play something else, it's really, really refreshing. And so those moments that's what I'm looking for now. But to answer your question, I mean, I constantly hustle myself. I mean, I'm always putting myself out there. You got to promote yourself. I work with Steve. He's a publicist. He kind of helps me get on radio shows like with you. Helps other people that's never heard of Eric Morris to hear of who I am. And but yes, I do have an agent as well, and he gets me some great auditions for some of the bigger shows and the feature films and things like that.
Okay. I want to know what your dream is.
Well, my dream. It goes like this. I want my company to do very well. And I want my company to do well because I want to leave a legacy for my sons and their future families to have an opportunity to have something better than just a job and give something to their kids. That's number one. Number two, I want the company to do well, to continue to do well, so I can be freed up and actually become a full-time working actor. And my dream is to work alongside, maybe with Matthew McConaughey. He's one of my favorite actors. Maybe do a film with Clint Eastwood before he expires. He's not getting any younger like the rest of us. But he's one of my favorite he's one of my favorite. Not only actors back when he does it, but he's also just some of the stuff he puts out. I really like his work as a director. So those are my two biggest things that I'd like to see happen before I check out myself.
Okay, what would you pass on to a young actress coming in the biz that your words of wisdom?
Well, number one, have a real heart-to-heart with yourself and ask yourself, do you really want to do this? Make sure you do, because this isn't like anything else. It's a tough. When people tell you it's a tough industry and there's no overnight success, and this is a marathon, not a sprint, all those kind of stuff that you'll hear from other people, they're telling you the truth. And a lot of young people think that they're just going to have some miracle thing, want to be discovered, and all of a sudden, be the next big thing on Entertainment Weekly or something, or working alongside Tom Cruise or some crap. It just doesn't happen like that. It is a long, hard battle, struggle, and you got to really ask yourself if you want to do this. And if you do, you've got to stay dedicated and have thick skin, because you're always getting rejected. You're always getting told no.
You hit on the word that I was going to ask you about, rejection. Rejection is. That's going to be. No matter who you are, you're going to feel rejected on some level. No matter what, you're going to look at at your work, and you're going to reject yourself, perhaps. How does one handle rejection? How do you handle rejection?
Well, I'll tell you, for me personally, it's in the beginning it was kind of tough. You get a big audition for an opportunity, then you're all excited, and then you don't hear nothing back. That's the worst. To learn how to deal with that, you've got to have what we call audition amnesia. You do the audition, and then you have got to forget about it, or you're going to drive yourself freaking nuts thinking about it. You got to let it go. So,
okay. And then when they call you, and that's it, and you don't worry about it.
That's it. That's put it. You did your part. A lot of actors and other coaches will tell young actors that are kind of new that their reward in this industry is actually getting asked to audition. you got to think. A casting director will get, sometimes a couple of thousand submissions for one little measly role in some stupid show on Netflix. Out of those couple of thousand, if you got asked to audition, that's a huge. I mean, it's just you're in the top 1% already. So, and then if you get asked for a callback, that's just like wow. And then if you actually book the role, that's just like amazing. You're like 0.01% chance of getting it. So you got to know that going in.
Tell me about the first role you ever got booked, and what was your response, how you felt, and what was that about?
Well, my first speaking role was in a little.
Would you play a mute before that?
Yeah, I've done a lot of just featured extra type stuff. Like I was on Vampire Diaries one time. I had a cool scene. It was the opening scene for one of the episodes in season 8, and I actually beat up one of my employees. I own a coffee shop, and the vampire tells me my employee's been sleeping with my wife, and I get pissed off, and I slam this guy into the glass, and it's a pretty cool opening scene. Work with the stunt coordinator and all that stuff, but I never said a word. I said it all with my eyes, and so, but it doesn't really count as an actor. If you didn't say anything, you might as well, you're just a piece of furniture. So, I had some great experiences. I already saw how some of the professional sets work by being an extra or working as a featured, whatever. It's a great experience for any actor that's getting started. They need to definitely
absolutely.
do it.
Being an extra, I did some extra work in the 80s. I was into the comedy biz in the 80s and 90s. And this was in San Francisco, and I did extra work, and it was fun. They'd pay you $25 a day and feed you lunch, and you'd sit around and read, listen to music, and walk through a town or whatever they had set up.
It's a lot of downtime, So bring a laptop or a book.
And that's a skill in itself. Kind of funny, I reacquainted on Facebook with a fellow who I did extra work 30 years ago, and I remembered him because he always had a book. He was always reading, and he was never antsy. If you didn't have a book to read, it's, like you say, a lot of downtime. So, read a book, listen to music, whatever. Do you get out to other venues, other states? Have you been out to California?
No, I haven't visited California yet. I plan to come this spring and meet some people that I've met in the industry, hang out with Steve and some of his friends, and just kind of see the area. I've never seen it. I've never been, and I've always wanted to check it out. I know this from pictures. It's a beautiful place. I want to go see Yosemite if I have a chance. I know it's kind of a long drive from L.A., but I plan to try to go see it. But yeah, I've been to, just nothing crazy. I've been to Texas one time. I was on a show for NBC Peacock Productions, one of those crime reenactment shows. I forget what it's called. I think it was called Disappeared, maybe. And I just played a detective, And so I flew out there to Houston, where we shot it. Just took a red-eye flight and hopped on, went over there, did it, came right back. And then Tennessee, I've done some stuff in the Carolinas, things like that. And I was going to work in Florida one time, but they never did get everything together. They just never did finish the project. So I don't know what happened. But anyhow, yeah, man, I try to stay in Atlanta if I can, because there's so much going on here that, there's no need really to look for work out of state. I mean, I'll do it if it comes my way. But when I look for breakdowns and projects and things like that, I'm looking in just Atlanta only, because there's just a lot going on here.
Well, specifically, what's driving the movie business, the TV business to Atlanta from Los Angeles?
Well, they have this really cool tax incentive that our governor, whatever, they've really, he's really supportive of the entertainment industry and the revenues that it brings. So there's a big incentive to film here, number one. Number two, the cost to film here is dramatically less than it would be in, say, New York City or Los Angeles. And, the cost of housing is so much cheaper. Everything's just a lot cheaper than it is in, like, in L.A. or New York. So there's a lot of benefits to shooting here. So that's why there's so much going on here, I guess. There's a lot of studios that have been built here. I have a couple of friends that work in a local studio called Pinewood, and they were filming some really cool big stuff. I think, Marvel and some of those guys were doing stuff there. Is that the other?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the other one? I don't know if you can hear me okay. I heard your, it's like another ringtone going.
No, somebody called in, and I had to put him on hold because I'm talking to the man from Georgia, Eric Morris.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
on the Publicly Zoned Radio Network with me, the Zig Zag Man, and I'm happy to have you. You're a very, very interesting guy, and I hear the enthusiasm in your voice. And
awesome.
I hope when you come out to see Steve in California that you'll make a trip to Alameda and come to the 420 studio. This has been trippy, and I appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me. I'd love to come check out San Francisco, so hopefully we'll come up that way and we'll stop in and check out your studio, man. It'd be awesome.
That sounds terrific. Be well, my friend, and if you're listening out there, we have the first part of an interview that I did this morning coming up. You will enjoy it. It's with a psychic. How about that? His name is Artie Hoffman, and he may get you in touch with your grandmother someday.
That's true. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
She might have been gone for 10, 15 years, but I'm thinking about getting in touch with my grandmother. I think she's by now stopped crying over all of that spilled milk. That's what I'm. That's the best I can hope for, and I would have a pleasant conversation. Are you okay now? Is it? I know that milk is gone from the depression, but in any event, I digress. I hope to have you again. That'd be terrific. Eric Morris, Atlanta, Georgia. Hope you had fun, Eric.
I did, man. Love to talk to you again soon, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, my friend. Be good. And for those of you listening, I want to give you a little advice. I want to tell you in closing to keep your humor dry, keep your dreams wet, and keep your kids off the laps of clerics that wear dresses. Adios. I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco and across the moat from Oakland. I'm kind of blessed. I get to talk to some of the most interesting people on the planet on a regular basis. Today is no exception. I'm meeting Rodney Damon Collins for the first time. He's an actor in Los Angeles and highly recommended by my friend Steve Joyner, a mutual friend of Rodney's. He's got a book coming out. He's a working actor, and I am privileged. Mr. Collins, how are you, sir?
Wow, Ralph, thank you so much for having me on your program. It's an honor. I'm doing well. I'm enjoying a little sunshine here in Los Angeles after a little rain, so I'm feeling pretty good today. Good.
And by the way, it's my honor. Next time it'll be your honor, and we can go Dutch after that.
It's agreed. It's a date.
All right, good deal. Rodney, are you originally from L.A., or how'd you get there, and how'd you get into acting?
Well, I grew up in Toledo, Ohio, which is it's about 50 miles south of Detroit, Michigan. So it's kind of nicknamed Little Detroit, even though it's in Ohio. And then after graduating from college, I spent the majority of my adult life in Cleveland, Ohio. And then moved out to Cleveland. I moved out to Los Angeles about 5 years ago. My passion for acting, it started, pretty much I used to just I loved telling stories. I was like, when I was a kid, I used to love being involved with different performances, wherever at school or whatever I was involved in, different organizations, Boys and Girls Clubs. I was a member of those.
Right.
And then my senior year in high school, this is when it really kind of dawned on me that I really, I have a gift to do this thing. There was a competition, about the homecoming, time they have for the ladies in high school, homecoming queen and stuff like that. And they
absolutely
go for it. Well, my high school had what is called a Super Fella contest, and it was in the springtime, and it was for the senior men. And the people, the student body voted for the top 5 guys in, kind of popularity in the senior class, but it was the entire student body voted for them, and I ended up being in the top 5 for that.
Wow.
As a result, and this was a fairly large high school, just under 2,000 students, and in order for you to present your case for winning, you had to either run a very strong campaign, and then you had to put on a assembly, and involved in that, what that assembly consisted of was that you had to put on different ways to promote you. So I wrote and directed and casted my first sketch comedy at the time, and
this is in high school.
In high school, I took a spin off the Arsenio Hall show, which at one point was very popular.
Yes, it was.
So I cast myself as Arsenio, and then I put down several guests that I wanted to appear on my show. I gave them a dialogue, and took them through rehearsals and skits, and it was very similar to like in a Living Color type spoof on Arsenio Hall. So that's when I really discovered. I was like, man, you actually have a gift for this thing.
Right, and you accepted the gift, too. You didn't doubt it, which is a big thing. A lot of people are presented with whatever it is, and they turn it down. They're not ready. They're afraid of success, afraid of failure, all kinds of things. So it takes a grounded person to, especially in high school, to be able to put it together that you're good. Who told you that? Was it your folks? Was it people around you? Who gave you permission to be good?
I'm going to say definitely there was a few advisors at the high school. When they saw me put on the presentation, that's when one of my advisors came to me and just asked me, it was like, Rodney, are you thinking about maybe a career, doing something in the field of entertainment? And at that point, I was getting ready to go to college, and I was first generation college. So I was a little nervous with that question because, I felt the pressure going to college. It wasn't necessarily from my parents, but there was a lot of hopes for me to go to college and get something that's going to give a very good job, especially coming from the family I came from, the town I grew up in. So it was just really like, we want you to be able to go to college and be able to come out with something very sustainable. So the last thing I was going to do was go to college and come back home and tell my parents, hey, I'm a theater major right now. So I didn't really focus on, I didn't major in theater in college. I took up a major which opened the door for me to prepare for that field at one point in my life later on. So I studied history, political science. I did a little minor in theater just to kind of stay in touch with it. And I continue to stay involved with the arts. So that's one reason why I didn't go right after it. And I'm glad I didn't, because at my age, at the time, going right into college, I don't think I was mature enough to really understand fully the commitment that was necessary. I needed to get some life experience. And I think that's what's helped me at this point in my life.
Okay. What life experience did you get that helped you?
Oh, my goodness. Well, first thing is that I got married a year after graduating from college, which I'm still married. I'm married 23 years. So we have two great young adults now. They're not kids anymore, 20 and 21-year-old young man and young lady. And,
wow,
we
that is
had a
terrific.
chance to, they're great kids. I still call them kids. They're mine. And then I had the chance to travel over to Africa to help build a school in Monrovia, Liberia. Also traveled to Ecuador, to Guayaquil, and participated in a project called Compassion International. I just learned to really develop a stronger heart for humanity during those times, which helped me recognize that, yes, I want to make an impact in the world, but what I want this impact to do is what I want this gift to do is go out and help change lives. I want my platform to grow so that I can use my platform to go out and help improve the lives of other people.
Wow. It sounds like I'm talking to someone very, very special. And guess what, folks? I am. That's terrific. Wow. Let me ask you, did you act back in the Midwest before moving to California, or did you move to California to start acting?
No, I believe that, let me just tell anybody who's listening to the program, whatever part of the country you live in, if you desire to work in the arts, work where you're at first. Develop that passion, fully understand what it takes, then decide to move to New York, Los Angeles, or Atlanta, one of those markets. So while I was in Cleveland, I stayed involved in the arts. I did some campaigns with American Greetings. I did several short films. I just stayed involved. I stayed involved in theater also, which the Playhouse Theater in Cleveland, I participated in a couple stage productions there where I had the opportunity to play a doctor in those. And I kind of like playing a doctor on just for play. I'm not sure about real life, but I definitely like playing a doctor on stage. So
do you have a specialty? Do you have a specialty, doctor?
No, don't have a specialty.
Oh,
no.
Okay. I thought we could really make this interesting. Rodney Collins, amateur gynecologist, performing near you. But it's none of that.
No, it's not that. I definitely have done a lot of things. I went to law school for a year, and just trying to, what I was doing right out of college is trying to see if I can find a substitute for my passion. Especially since I got married, I really was like, well, maybe I should be looking at other careers that will give me some longevity and allow me to provide a nice lifestyle for my family. So I went to law school, hated it. It wasn't for me. After the first year, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. I invested in real estate, started acquiring properties, realized very quickly that, I'm not cut out to be a landlord. I think I'm going to sell these properties and not worry about that. Then I ran my own insurance agency. I've done a lot of things in my attempts to find satisfaction, but you know what, Ralph, the acting bug, the arts never left me. I could never get away from it. I would try to step away from it for a short time, and always I would find my way back involved in it. That's how I knew, you know what, you meant to do this, because I'm a firm believer. If you can step away from something and not have a desire for it anymore, you know what, you're probably okay with not doing it. But try stepping away from something and the passion and the urges never leave you. Most likely this is something that's in you, and it's got to come out, and you got to do
it. Right. And only you know that, too. Not just you, only one knows that for themselves. And they really have to give in to what their passion is. Otherwise, you're going to live an unrequited life. And that's not good.
Ralph, I've always believed that I don't want to be the person to have regrets at one point in my life. And I remember Denzel was giving a speech at a high school, at a college graduation, and he was saying that you don't want to be that person that's lying on your deathbed. And here comes to you are all the ghosts of your dreams, and they're standing around your bed looking at you and saying, we came to you throughout your life, and you never pursued us. Now we all have to go to the grave together. And I was like, ugh, that just gives me the chills every time I think about that, because I was like, you know, there's so much I wanted to do, and I knew that my family needed to be in Los Angeles because that's the market. I wanted to work in TV and film. So we relocated several years ago, and we made the leap, which I believe that.
Did your children get into your business? Not did they get into your business. Are they in show business?
My son is following in my footsteps. Yes, my son, he'll be graduating from college next year, and every time he's home from the summer or whatever time, he's always working on sets, and that is his plan to work in the arts. And he and I have already planned on running our own production company one day, and just building a platform where we can tell stories and just really help to just help change people's lives and just really have a good time doing it, though. We want to tell stories that's going to make you laugh. I want to tell a story that's going to make you think. I want to tell a story that's going to move you to action. So on top of my acting, I do desire production and directing one day also, and we're working towards that. But my wife and daughter are like, you know what? My wife told me she would just be my personal stylist. She was like, she's okay with that. She's a teacher.
Well, we need women. Every successful man needs a more successful woman behind us. You ever think of it that way? It's not the woman supporting. We really support the women, and as opposed to the women supporting us, because it flows. You can't. It can't be one only. You have to. You have to make it a circle and complete the circle. And
we're truly a team. We're a team.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing that. That's tremendous. What would your passion be if it wasn't the theater?
If it wasn't theater.
Or theater,
or TV
acting,
and film, or storytelling. I would be if I wasn't working as an actor, I would be a minister. That's the kind of person I am, because I like to help change people's lives. And I actually have a master's degree from a seminary. And so that what I tell people is that my job as an actor and a minister are very similar, because they're both storytellers, and they both want to move people to action. So I was like, wow. Either field, they complement each other. So that's what I love about what I do.
Okay. Hey, tell me about the insurance business. We have a little bit in common. Back in the late 70s, I ran an insurance agency of my own myself. So,
really?
What was yours? Was it life insurance? Mine was.
Mine was life, auto, health. I was a State Farm agent, a good neighbor.
I first started with New York Life when I got out of the Air Force in 1969, and I was committed to New York Life, but shortly thereafter, I ran into a guy who handled my car insurance, and he happened to be a State Farm guy, and he made it seem like I made a big mistake, because everybody's got to have car insurance. And if you get them as a client with car insurance, you could sell them life insurance after that. And it's much easier to market, much less rejection if you start out with car insurance. So State Farm had a great program, and I regretted that I just picked the wrong venue. But I did it for 7 years, and it led me to doing comedy and doing my passion, as it were, or one of my passions. So I can't complain about it, but isn't it interesting that the same skills that you develop in business can easily be transcended to other things, the arts, production, all of that. And I hope you found that to be true, because it would validate my thinking. Is that the case?
I am getting ready to validate your thinking, Ralph, because yes, it is for me too. And I tell a lot. That's what I meant. You remember I said previously about getting life experience helps ground you and prepare you for this industry.
Right.
I believe that time in corporate America, learning how to work with people, learning how to deal with certain rejection, and learning how to convince people of their need of something, all those things transfer directly into what I do every day now as an actor. And it's just amazing, because as an actor or entertainer, each actor represents an individual corporation. And I don't think a lot of actors think of themselves like that. But as you walk around, every person you see who's in the industry who's an actor, that's one company. And how that person markets themselves, how that person packages themselves, it is all important that they have a business mind as well as an artistic mind in this industry. And there's a lot of actors who are great as far as the acting, the artistic side, but when it comes to the business side, don't fully understand that part. And that can lead to a lot of people being frustrated and not really fully seeing how successful they can be.
Rodney, let me ask you a question that I ask most everybody that I have that as a guest that's in entertainment. How do you handle rejection?
Well, I look at it like when I go into an audition, those 2 minutes are for me. My first intention when I go into an audition, my first goal is to book the casting director. I want the casting director to say, I like this guy. If he doesn't fit this role, we got to find some other stuff to bring him in for. So that's what I'm thinking first. I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking about just that one role, because a guest starring role is great, but if you book a casting director and they really like working with you, you get called in time and time and time again after that, and that helps you to get more opportunities. Being an actor is very similar to insurance sales. It's numbers. You have to audition. If you're not auditioning enough, then you don't have the opportunities. The way I look at rejection as, if I don't get a role, that role just wasn't for me. It's not personal.
Right. In insurance, you can say, well, they're not rejecting me, they're rejecting my product, or real estate, whatever
right.
you're doing. Not so easy with acting or with comedy, because in essence, unless you have that kind of attitude that I'm just doing it, in numbers, and eventually the numbers will work out. The law of large numbers always works out. The law of small numbers never works out.
Never. And that's why so many people, when they experience rejection, take it so personally. But I had to look at it. That product, my product that I brought into for an audition, didn't fit what the role was looking for necessarily. And you can go in there and you can do an amazing job. You can have be completely off book, do your audition very well, and still not book it. And it's okay, because sometimes you can be the right person when you walk in the room, but writers, directors, stuff happens while you're even auditioning where the role could change, the look can change, or they can even write that character out of the show before even shooting. So
right, or they could see you and write a character in.
Right.
Based on meeting you.
So that's how I look at it. It's not personal. It's not personal.
Well, you've got a terrific attitude, and this has been a great interview for me, because I just smile at the fact that it's right people making it too in this world. You know, hardworking people that aren't trying to get over, that have a nice message to portray. I'm glad for you. I'm glad for society. How can you be reached if somebody wanted to get in touch with you?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm on Instagram, which I love, and you can reach me at Rodney, R-O-D-N-E-Y, Damon, D-A-M-O-N, last name Collins, C-O-L-L-I-N-S. So that's my full name. They can just search me out, and I would love for you to follow. I'll follow back, and we connect. Facebook is the same way. You can reach me through there, and Instagram. I use my full name because I like to be easy to find. And so that's the best way to reach me, through social media. Also, I have a YouTube page, and just follow. You can actually subscribe to that, where I post various videos. I might post some reels or some updated projects I'm working on. Also, Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, you can catch me now on a television show called Chosen Kin, K-I-N, Origins. It's a superhero show. My character is Dr. Watson. I run a government organization that's investigating the activities of the superheroes, and I know what's taking place, and I know about an impending invasion coming towards Earth. So I love that character, and I'm in a couple web series, The Single Life, which is airing right now on YouTube. You can watch that. I play a very interesting character named Dwayne. I have a few upcoming projects I just had to sign an NDA for, so I'm not at liberty to say the name, but one is preparing for Netflix. But if you follow me, you'll be able to catch up with that. Also, my IMDb. If you go to IMDb, which is the movie website for actors, producers, films, if you want to look up information, just type my name in there, Rodney Damon Collins. You can find out other projects I'm working on. And lastly, Ralph, I have an amazing book coming out on March 15th entitled Shattered, A Journey Through the Pieces. And some of the stuff I shared during the interview, talking about my life a little bit, I talk more in depth in my book about that, and I share with people how I actually got to this point in my life.
Ronnie, is there anything in the book that you wish you hadn't put in, and is there anything in the book that you didn't put in that you wish you had put in?
Well, put it like this, there's nothing in the book that I wish I hadn't put in. I felt like after combing through it, I didn't want to write a novel. I didn't want it to be too long. I wanted it to be a good read that you can pick up and just digest it and just really pick it up, be charged to go, and be able to get through it in a very reasonable time. So that's one thing. You said as far as do I wish I had put in?
Right.
There are some other things I wish I had put in as far as talking about just understanding the dynamics of what happens with your family and other things, other people in your life when you plan on pursuing a dream, and how to navigate certain things like that. But that's going to come in another book. I have some more projects.
All right, follow up.
And then I actually have some other things about just preparing for a life in entertainment.
Hey, Ronnie, before I let you go, let me ask you about the process of writing for you. Do you set a time for yourself, like from 9 to 7, I will just do nothing but write? Or do you write down things when the spirit hits you? Or do you write when you feel like writing? How does that work for you?
Well, first of all, I always carry a journal with me, and I have the notes on my phone. So if a thought hits me with regard to my book or a script, I just immediately, I could be driving, and I'll find a way to pull over to the side of the road and jot that thought down real quick. So that's one thing. Another thing is when it comes to writing the book, I schedule time. I treated it like a job. So if I would tell everybody, hey, today for the next 6 hours, this is all I'm doing. If you need to reach me, send me a text, and I'll get back to you. So I believe that when you have to be very intentional and protect that time. You have to treat it like a regular job. You have to employ yourself when you write a book. You have to employ yourself.
That's what they teach you in the insurance business when you work for yourself. You're your own employer. You could be the best boss or the worst boss, but it's up to you. That's a big responsibility, and all the people out there who say, you look at an actor, a Tom Hanks, whoever it is that makes it really big, and you say, well, they don't deserve X number of dollars. That's too much to pay. That's ridiculous. First of all, one deserves what one will get paid, A, and B, don't discount the amount of work, the effort that goes into it. You're never off work. You think about it 24 hours a day. When you're not sleeping, you're thinking about it. When you're sleeping, you're dreaming about it. So anybody out there who wants to think of anybody in the craft as just somebody who's going along and doesn't work hard, doesn't have a work ethic, you're a good example that that's not true, Rodney.
Well, Ralph, I'm sure you definitely are too, my friend. And I'm
not. I'm certainly not. I can assure you of that, and I have references. But and I'll talk to that casting director, and I'll tell him I'm not. Rodney, you're a terrific interview. I hope you had fun. And
yes, I did.
B, I hope you'll come back.
I would love to come back, Ralph. Thank you so much for having me, and to everyone out there, just continue to be present in every moment of life. Life is a gift. Enjoy it.
And it is fleeting, so live every day like it's your last. And the older I get, the more I subscribe to that. And you want to be the last man standing, so do something about it. That kind of thing.
Well,
Rodney,
listening.
thank you again. The network is Comfortably Zoned Radio, and I'm Ralph Tycho, the Zig Zag Man, and I enjoy doing this a great deal, and this is Exhibit A, Rodney. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you once again.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I will be back at you before you know it. Adios. The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.